Assalamu alaikum everyone, this is Seema Nazir and welcome to Knowledge Run. Today in this video, we're going to discuss economic crisis of Pakistan, and in particular, we're going to discuss the balance of payment crisis. We will talk about the concept of balance of payment crisis, then the causes of balance of payment crisis in Pakistan, the impacts of balance of payment crisis, and the solutions also. So we're going to discuss all this in detail, and I would try to make it simple and easy to understand for all of you. So stay focused and let's get started. So starting with the concept of balance of payment, what is this concept? Here is a very simple and easy to understand definition of balance of payment. A country's balance of payments is a statement of all transactions made between entities in that country and the rest of the world over a defined period, such as a quarter or a year. Or if I try to simplify it, it is simply the imports and exports of a country. We all know that countries are involved in trade and they do trade with the other countries. They import some goods and then they export some goods. So the statement that shows the transactions of the imports and exports, this is called balance of payment. And countries try to balance this trade because no one wants a loss, no one wants deficit. In fact, countries want surplus. So countries just try to balance this trade. And the balance of the trade, the situation is called trade equilibrium. If there is a balance in imports and exports, if the imports is equal to exports, we call this trade equilibrium. And this image right here shows the situation of trade equilibrium. So this is the simple concept of balance of payment. So I thought that before starting the balance of payment crisis, we should try to understand what is balance of payment. So I hope that the concept is clear now. Now we're going to understand the concept of balance of payment crisis. What is balance of payment crisis? I've tried to make it simple and easy to understand for all of you. So starting with a circular process. Well, there is an account of a country that is called current account, and in simple words, this account is like the wallet of the country. Whatever the country expends, country takes the money out from this account. Okay, all the expenditures, all the imports and debt payments, the countries takes amount or takes the money from this current account. Okay, this is the current account. It's like the wallet of a country, right? Countries take out money from this account and spend money from this account. Countries pay the amount, pay whatever they want to pay or whatever they want to spend, and they pay international markets and domestic entities also from this current account. And in case of Pakistan, we know that we import things from China, we import things from USA, and we pay our debts to IMF because we take a lot of loans from IMF. So we pay to these different entities. So whatever we have to pay, we would pay from this current account. I'm talking about the country Pakistan, okay? Current account is like the wallet of a country. It's like the purse of a country. Whatever we spend, we would take money from this account, okay? So all the expenditures come from this current account, and all the revenues also, all the profit that a country earns, all the revenue goes to this account, the current account. So this is the concept of current account, okay? Current account is like a wallet of a country. All the expenditures come from this account and all the revenues go to this account. This is the current account. Viewers, if unfortunately the expenditures exceed the revenue, we call this state a loss in the current account, and this loss in the current account is called current account deficit. If for any reason the expenditure exceeds revenue, we call that we are in a loss. This is a loss in the current account. We spend more and we earn less. So this is a loss in the current account. The money taken out from the current account is more. The money taken out from the current account is more, and the money that we earn is less. So we call this status, so the situation, we call this loss in the current account. And technically, if I talk about the jargon, we call this current account deficit. And if this current account deficit continues for a longer period of time, we lose all the money that is in our account or in the wallet. And this situation is called default of economy of a country. So this all is the concept of balance of payment crisis. We all know, I have explained in the previous slide, that countries try to balance between the imports and the exports. If exports are more than the imports, we call this surplus in current account. If exports are more than imports, we call this surplus, because we are earning more by our exports and we are spending less by our imports. So this is called surplus in current account. But if the situation is reversed, it is vice versa, the imports are more than exports, or I should say, if the expenditures are more than revenue, we call this current account deficit. Because our current account is in a deficit, we are spending more and we are earning less. And if it continues for a period of time, we start fearing the default of a country, the default of economy of a country. So this whole is the concept of balance of payment crisis. And this is what the country Pakistan is going through these days. Country Pakistan is facing a balance of payment crisis for the past few months. For I think past 2 years. For last 2 years, the country Pakistan is facing balance of payment crisis, and the country is fearing a default of economy. Well, I hope that the concept of balance of payment crisis is clear now. Now I want all the viewers to understand what is foreign exchange reserves. A very simple definition of foreign exchange reserves, I've written it here. Foreign exchange reserves are cash and other reserve assets such as gold held by a central bank or other monetary authority that are primarily available to balance payments of the country, influence the foreign exchange rate of its currency, and to maintain confidence in financial markets. Country pays from foreign exchange reserves to balance the payment of the country. For example, if the import of the country exceed the exports of the country would pay for the imports from this foreign exchange reserves. And we all know that Pakistan is facing balance of payment crisis. So from where the Pakistan is paying for all the imports? Well, the Pakistan is paying from its foreign exchange reserves. A very sad thing, the foreign exchange reserves of Pakistan dipped to $2.9 billion on February 3rd, 2023, from a peak of $20.1 billion in August 2021. And this data, I have learned this from State Bank of Pakistan. This is the statement of State Bank of Pakistan. So this is a very dire situation. We are not earning these days, we are just spending, and our foreign exchange reserves is depleting. This is not good for a country. So this was the concept of foreign exchange reserves. I hope it is clear now. Okay, so now we have understood the concept of balance of payment crisis and foreign exchange reserves also. Now we would start the balance of payment crisis in Pakistan. Why Pakistan is facing this balance of payment crisis, and how much loss Pakistan has incurred in the past 2 years. Well, viewers, Pakistan faced a severe balance of payment crisis in fiscal year 2022 and fiscal year 2022. Why I'm saying that Pakistan faced a balance of payment crisis? Because these days Pakistan is not facing this crisis, and for the past few months the current account is in surplus, and I would show that data also. I would give that data from State Bank of Pakistan. Pakistan imports more and Pakistan exports less. This is the main problem, viewers. In fiscal year 2022, the current account deficit was $17.4 billion. Pakistan imported goods worth of $81 billion and exported goods worth of $36 billion. And all this data is from State Bank of Pakistan. The difference between the imports and exports in fiscal year 2022 was $45 billion. So why am I saying that the current account deficit was $17.4 billion? Because the remittances were $31.3 billion. We received remittances worth of $31.3 billion, and these remittances reduced the current account deficit to $17.4 billion. Then, students, the foreign exchange reserves were used to pay for the deficit, and the foreign exchange reserves dipped to $2.9 billion on February 3, 2023 from a peak of $20.1 billion in August 2021. And this statement is by State Bank of Pakistan. We all know that whenever a country faces a deficit in its current account, it uses its foreign exchange reserves to pay for the imports, to pay for the goods that it has bought from the foreign countries. And this is the situation in Pakistan these days. Pakistan is buying things from other countries, but Pakistan is unable to balance its trade. Pakistan is buying more and Pakistan is selling less. So to pay for the imports, it is using its foreign exchange reserves. So this is the kind of crisis that Pakistan is facing these days. So here is the data of current account balance that I talked about, that I wanted to share here. This is from State Bank of Pakistan. It came directly from State Bank of Pakistan. The bank posted it on its X account that used to be Twitter some times ago. It shows all the current account balance, and it shows the data of fiscal year 2023. We can see here that in July 2022, the country incurred a loss of $1.26. There was a current account deficit of $1.26. Then in August, the current account deficit stood at $0.77. Then in September, it was $0.41 billion. Then in October 22, it was $0.83 billion. Then November, $0.14 billion. Then December, January, February, and then finally in March, the current account did not incur a loss but a surplus. Current account surplus, we got a surplus in March 23, and it was $0.79 billion. Then in April 23, we got a surplus of $0.08 billion. Then in May, $0.22 billion. And then in June 23, that was the last month of the fiscal year 23, we got a surplus of $0.33 billion. So if we compare fiscal year 2022 and fiscal year 2023, there's a huge difference in the current account deficit. In fiscal year 22, the deficit stood at $17.48 billion. And then, although the fiscal year 23 ended in a deficit, but the deficit was definitely lesser than the deficit we faced in fiscal year 22. The deficit of fiscal year 23 was $2.56 billion. It is not very clear here, but but it shows that it is minus 2.56. So we can compare these 2 years. In fiscal year 22, we incurred a deficit of $17.48 billion. But in fiscal year 23, we incurred a deficit of $2.56 billion. So this was the data shared by State Bank of Pakistan. And if a CSS aspirant is listening to me right now, just making such kind of graphs in the examination gives a very good impression on the examiner. So practice such kind of graphs and try to compare things, try to compare previous year with the current year, and just practice such kind of things. Memorize this, that in fiscal year 2022 we faced a deficit of minus 17.48, and in fiscal year 23 the deficit stood at $2.56 billion. So this was the data shared by State Bank of Pakistan, and I thought that it would be good to share it here also. Causes of balance of payment crisis in Pakistan. Now we're going to study the causes of balance of payment crisis. Why Pakistan is facing balance of payment crisis, and we would study this in detail. The first cause, very simple, it is massive trade deficit. We all know that Pakistani import is a lot more than the export. Pakistan is an import-based economy. It does not export a lot, but it imports a lot. Pakistani producers are unable to compete with the producers of the world and the region, most importantly. But why Pakistani producers are unable to compete with the producers of the world and the region also? Well, there are definitely some reasons. First of all, lack of industrialization. We all know that there are few industries in Pakistan, and the electricity is expensive and the hydrocarbons are also expensive. We import hydrocarbons to run the industry. We all know that industries run on petroleum and fossil fuels, and we do not have these kind of resources. We import these kind of resources. The electricity is expensive in Pakistan. So all this adds to the cost of products that the industry of Pakistan produce. So students, all these things contribute to the cost of products produced by Pakistani industry, and it decreases the competency of Pakistani producers. Then we imposed taxes on industries. Once again, this thing also contributes to the cost of products produced in Pakistan. Then we do not have efficient labor, and there is no labor training. Then there is no good education, there is no research and innovation, and no ease of doing business. A data that I was studying, Pakistan was ranked 108th in 2019 by World Bank ratings in the ease of doing business. So all this statistics shows that Pakistan is pathetic in manufacturing. And this is the reason of massive trade deficit. Pakistan is unable to produce, Pakistan is unable to manufacture, and Pakistan is unable to export good manufactured things. And Pakistan imports a lot. So all this creates a massive trade deficit. I've added a very good graph here, and the source of this graph is World Development Indicators, and this graph compares the percentage growth in exports per capita between 2000 and 2021, and it shows the data of, it compares the data of the countries of this South Asian region. And first of all, we can see here the Bangladesh. The growth of Bangladesh, the growth of exports per capita of Bangladesh is more than 200%. Then the growth of India stood at 600%. Then Cambodia, it is 800%. Then Pakistan, it is lesser than 200%. Then Vietnam. Vietnam has the highest percentage growth in exports per capita between 2000 and 2021. It is 1800%. So we all can see that Pakistan could not increase its export per capita between 2000 and 2021. So this graph shows that Pakistan is behind all these countries, all the countries of the region. And the situation is not good. It is pathetic and it is very, very bad. Another cause of balance of payment crisis is the increase in imports of Pakistan. We all know that the imports in Pakistan are increasing day by day. Well, definitely there are some reasons behind this increase in imports. The first reason is the decline in agricultural growth of Pakistan. We all know that Pakistan is an agricultural economy. Pakistan grows crops. Pakistan grows wheat, rice, sugarcane, and maize also. Pakistan grows different kinds of crops. But these days, Pakistan is facing a decline in agricultural growth also. And unfortunately, Pakistan is facing such a dire situation that Pakistan has started importing things from other countries. Pakistan imports wheat from Ukraine and Russia also. In fiscal year 2023, Pakistan imported 2.68 million metric tons of wheat from Russia. And well, definitely there are some reasons of the decline in agricultural growth that Pakistan is facing. One of the reasons is climate change. We all know climate change induced disasters. We all know the floods. We all witnessed the horrors of the floods of 2022, and these floods destroy all the standing crops. And there are some other reasons also behind the decline in agricultural growth. For example, outdated machinery and practices of agriculture. So these things are contributing to the increase in the imports of the country. And we are compelled now to import these things, the wheat also. Another cause of balance of payment crisis, it is the increased debt servicing. We all know that we take loans from IMF and the other friendly neighbors also, and we all know that we have to pay back this loan also. The loan is increasing day by day and we have to pay back this also. Today, the total external debt on Pakistan is $125 billion. This is a statement of the State Bank of Pakistan. In fiscal year 2022, Pakistan paid a loan of $12 billion. This loan adds to the current account deficit. We have to pay this loan, and when we pay this loan increases the current account deficit of Pakistan. And this deficit causes a balance of payment crisis. We all know this. We have studied the concept of balance of payment crisis in detail. So we pay this loan and this loan adds to the current account deficit. Then another cause of the balance of payment crisis, this is that Pakistan consumes more and Pakistan saves less. A data that I'm sharing here, this is from World Bank 2021, and this is the data of 2021. In 2021, Bangladesh saved 36% of its GDP. China saved 44% of its GDP. China is at top in saving. Then India saved 30% of its GDP and USA saved 19% of its GDP. Pakistan saved only 13% of its GDP. Pakistan consumes a lot. We spend a lot. There is bloating in our government sector also, and extra spending on government officials, government sectors, and bloating in government sectors. These things add burden on the current account. We all know that there is massive spending on defense also in Pakistan, but unfortunately all these things add burden on the current account, and all this leads to a current account deficit. We end up in this situation, and all this leads to a balance of payment crisis. Then another problem, tax evasion. This is also a cause of balance of payment crisis. We all know that government earns from tax. Tax is a revenue for government, but people in Pakistan do not pay tax. They do practice tax evasion. In fiscal year 2022, the tax to GDP ratio in Pakistan was only 10.8%, and this is the data of Economic Survey of Pakistan. People do not pay tax, government does not earn, and government only spends and does not earn, and all this adds to the current account deficit, a loss in the current account, and all these things lead to balance of payment crisis. So these are all the causes of balance of payment crisis, and government should do something to resolve all these issues and to exterminate, to eradicate all this crisis. So we are done with the causes of balance of payment crisis. Now we would study the impacts of balance of payment crisis. Well, first of all, the immediate impact is the depletion in foreign exchange reserves. We all know that when government does not earn, it pays for the imports from foreign exchange reserves, and all this leads to the depletion in foreign exchange reserves. Government use these reserves to pay for the imports, to pay for the things that it is buying from the neighboring countries or from the other countries. It uses these reserves and it causes a depletion in foreign exchange reserves. So this is the immediate impact of balance of payment crisis in Pakistan. I have shared this data several times in this lecture. In February 2023, the foreign exchange reserves of Pakistan dipped to $2.9 billion only. Then another impact of balance of payment crisis, dollars outflux is increased. Dollar is flowing out of this country, because we pay for everything in dollar, and we are not earning dollar, we are just paying and paying and paying, and it increases the outflux of dollar from the country. Then we face a threat of default. This is a hot topic of this country these days, that is a threat of default, default of economy, and we have witnessed this threat of default in one of our neighboring country, Sri Lanka. I mean, not the immediate neighbor, but it is close to Pakistan. Sri Lanka defaulted, we all know, in 2022, or I don't remember, 2022 or 2023. Sri Lanka, the economy of Sri Lanka defaulted. So there is a roaming threat of default in Pakistan also due to this balance of payment crisis. And the increased outflux of dollar causes a devaluation of rupee. Rupee is devalued. Dollar outflux from the country causes devaluation of the rupee. In January 2022, dollar was for 178 rupee. Now it is for 289 rupee. On August 13, 2023, it is 289 PKR. It is for 289 PKR dollar. So the balance of payment crisis is also causing a devaluation of rupee. Now viewers, another impact of balance of payment crisis in Pakistan, that is vicious circle of taking loans starts. Now, this is very important and a little confusing also. I will try to explain it in the simple terms, and I will try to make it easy for all of you. We all know that Pakistan is facing a balance of payment crisis these days, and Pakistan is using its foreign exchange reserves to pay for the imports, and the foreign exchange reserves of Pakistan are depleting because Pakistan is using these foreign exchange reserves, and it is using these reserves for the past few months. And all this is leading to a threat of default. We all know that a threat of default is roaming around us, a threat of default of the economy. So, to prevent the default of the economy, the Pakistan is approaching IMF. And approaching IMF and taking loans, it all starts a vicious circle. And I would explain this here. Let's start with the balance of payment crisis, the vicious circle. I have designed this circle here. The balance of payment crisis starts, Pakistan approaches IMF, Pakistan takes loans, Pakistan secure bailout packages from IMF. But things like free lunch do not exist in the world. We all know this. There is definitely a price of this bailout package from IMF. IMF imposes its restrictions. IMF gives some structural adjustment programs. There are some restrictions and conditions of IMF. IMF expects Pakistan, and IMF compels Pakistan to end these subsidies and to let the rupee float freely in the market. IMF says that you would not give subsidies to the petroleum companies and all the industries also, and you would let the rupee float freely in the market. No restriction and no controlling of the value of a rupee in the market artificially. Then Pakistan stopped giving subsidies to its industries, and all this leads to increase in the prices of petroleum products. And when the prices of petroleum products are increased, this gives a burden on industry. The industry feels this burden because we all know that industries run on petroleum products, industries run on oil, industries need fossil fuels, oil, and all these fuels to run. But when the prices of petroleum products are increased, the burden is felt by the industries. Now this impact cascades down to the production cost. Industries feel the burden of increase in the prices of petroleum products, and industries increase the cost of products also. The cost of production is increased, and to compensate for this, industries increase the cost of products. All this leads to less production and less exports. The cost of production is increased. It leads to less production, and less production leads to less exports. And what does less exports mean? Less exports mean, once again, current account deficit. Less exports, more imports, current account deficit, and once again, balance of payment crisis. And balance of payment crisis means depletion of foreign exchange reserves, and depletion of foreign exchange reserves means that the threat of default of economy, and all this leads again to taking loans from IMF and the friendly neighbors, and the vicious circle continues and continues and continues, and it goes on. So this is the vicious circle of taking loan. And it all starts when the country faces a balance of payment crisis. And it leads to inflation also, obviously. Government increases prices and removes subsidies to generate revenue. And all this leads to inflation. The cost of products increases and the society feels the burden on itself. For April 2023, the inflation rate in Pakistan was highest, and it was 38%, according to Pakistan Bureau of Statistics. And all these things increase burden on society. Inflation and increase in cost of products in the market, all these things cause burden on the society. So these were the impacts of balance of payment crisis in Pakistan. Now we would study the solution of this crisis. Well, first we would study the immediate solution. The first immediate solution that the government of Pakistan should adopt is stabilize rupee by taking loans. Well, this might sound funny, but this is the immediate solution, and we do not have any other option. Pakistan should stabilize rupee first of all by taking loans. Pakistan should reach a staff level agreement with IMF. It should take loans from neighboring countries also. Pakistan should take loans from Saudi Arabia, and we all know that last year Saudi Arabia deposited $3 billion in State Bank of Pakistan to support its foreign exchange reserves, and Saudi Arabia extended the agreement also. The agreement of paying back the loan. Saudi Arabia extended this agreement on the plea of Pakistan, and Pakistan should take loans first of all to neutralize the threat of default. First it should take loans, then it should start process of stabilizing the economy, and it should increase the influx of dollar. Pakistan should bring dollar in the country. Pakistan should stabilize rupee and increase the foreign exchange reserves. And how it can bring dollar inside the country? By increasing remittances and by increasing its exports. Then Pakistan should decrease the outflux of dollar. It should not let the dollar go out of this country. Pakistan should prevent the smuggling of dollar from Pak-Afghan border. We all know that the dollar is being smuggled from Pakistan-Afghanistan border. Then Pakistan should decrease the import of hydrocarbons. We all know that Pakistan import hydrocarbons. 60% of the imports of Pakistan comprises of hydrocarbons. Pakistan imports coal, Pakistan imports oil, Pakistan imports gasoline, Pakistan imports petroleum products to run the industries, to fuel the plants of electricity generation. Pakistan use hydrocarbons for all these purposes. So Pakistan should decrease the imports of hydrocarbons. How? I would explain it later. Then Pakistan should decrease the imports of luxury goods also. Then Pakistan should cut its expenditures and save. Pakistan should start saving the dollars. Pakistan should start tax collection reforms. I have explained it in the previous slide when we were studying the causes of balance of payment crisis. I explained it that one of the causes of balance of payment crisis is tax evasion by people. We all know that in Pakistan, people do not pay taxes. So Pakistan should start the reforms for tax collection. Then Pakistan should decrease the expenditures on government sectors. Pakistan should decrease the expenditures on its government officials and government offices also, and it should start saving, because we all know that country cannot develop unless it starts saving. So Pakistan should cut its expenditures and it should start saving. Now we would study the long-term solution for the balance of payment crisis. Well, we all know that Pakistan is an import-based economy. Pakistan should start some reforms and it should make its economy export-based. Pakistan should increase the exports. It should increase the production base of the country. And how it can do it? Well, there are many ways. Pakistan should support its industries. There should be industrialization. Pakistan should reduce the taxes and regulation on businesses. There should be labor training, and there should be investment in education also, so that there is innovation and research and all these things. So this is how Pakistan can make its economy an export-based economy. Then Pakistan should decrease its imports. Well, there are long-term solutions for decreasing the imports. How? Pakistan should increase its agricultural growth. First of all, we all know that we are facing a decline in agricultural growth due to many reasons, due to outdated machinery, due to outdated practices of agriculture, crop growing, and due to salinity and waterlogging, loss of the agricultural land. We should do some reforms in agricultural sector, and we should increase the agricultural growth to decrease the imports of the country. Then we should shift to domestic sources of electricity generation, because we all know that we are generating our electricity by using hydrocarbons, and we are importing these hydrocarbons. So we should do an analysis of all the imports and exports of the country, and we should decrease the imports of the country. We should shift to domestic sources of electricity generation. We should shift from non-renewable energy sources to renewable energy sources, for example, solar, wind, and hydel also. This is how we can decrease the imports of the country. Then we should start doing trades with our country. We should sign trade agreements with the neighboring countries. Now here, I must mention this point, that we cannot and we should not ban the imports, and we should not impose any tariffs on imports, because this way we are cutting our relations with our neighbor countries. So we should not do this. We should not ban imports. In fact, we should practice trade, and we should do trade with our countries. We should import their things, and we should export their things. We should export our things also. If we import the products or the goods of the neighboring countries and the other countries, then the neighbor countries would import our things also, and then we would be able to export our goods also. Only if we allow them to sell their products in our country, then we would have a healthy relation, and then we would be able to export our products also. Remember, this is a long-term solution. I'm not talking about the short-term solution that I discussed in the previous slide, that we should decrease our luxury goods. We should decrease the import of luxury goods. Immediately we should decrease our luxury goods, the imports of luxury goods. But for the long term, we cannot do this. We cannot practice this for a longer period of time. If we do this, if we stop trade with the other countries for a longer period of time, we would be isolated. So we cannot impose ban, and we cannot stop imports from other countries for a longer period of time. Now just try to understand the difference of solution, this short-term solution and the long-term solution. For short-term, we should decrease our imports of luxury goods, but for long-term, we should sign agreements with the neighboring countries, because we do not want to be isolated, and we do not want other countries to impose ban on our products also. So we should make trade agreements, and we should sign trade agreements with the neighboring countries. We should make trade relations with neighboring countries to increase our exports, and we should maximize benefit from these trade agreements. For example, CPEC, we should maximize benefits from CPEC. We all know that Pakistan can be used as a transit state by China and Central Asia also, and we can earn toll from this trade also. We can act as a transit state for China and Central Asia, and we can earn toll from this. So these are the solution of balance of payment crisis, long-term solution. Another long-term solution of balance of payment crisis, we should facilitate investment in country. We should bring foreign direct investment in the country. We should improve the security situation of the country. We all know that the security situation of the country is not good, and this is the thing that is preventing the foreign investors from investing in this country. So we should improve the security situation, and we should maintain the political stability also to increase the confidence of foreign investors. Another long-term solution, it is the invest in education in the country. We all know that education is the backbone of a nation, and we should invest in education to improve the research, and we should invest in innovation, research, development, because this is a long-term solution, and this is how we can invent things and we can improve our exports. Then Pakistan should maximize benefit from comparative advantage. We should realize and we should recognize our comparative advantage. Well, one of our comparative advantage is the halal meat industry. We can export halal meat in international market, and we should exploit this industry. We should tap this industry, and we should realize that the potential of this industry is very high in Pakistan. Then the potential of tourism industry also, this is also very high. Pakistan is very beautiful. There are many scenic views in Pakistan, the northern areas especially. So Pakistan should improve the security situation of the country to earn from tourism industry also. And Pakistan can earn millions of dollars from this industry. Pakistan should advertise its beautiful areas, and Pakistan should show its beautiful areas to increase and to develop its tourism industry. So these were the long-term solutions of balance of payment crisis. This is the end of this lecture. I hope that everything and all the concepts are clear now. I tried to make it simple for all of you, and I've tried to explain it in the most simple manner. Today we have studied the concept of balance of payment crisis, why Pakistan is facing this crisis, and the causes of balance of payment crisis, the impacts and the solutions also. So this is enough for today. I hope that everything is clear now. Thank you. Allah Hafiz for today. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe the channel Knowledge Realm. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.